yesterday. What went wrong for them yesterday, I would think, is on the offensive side of the football. Again,
well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. I have some exciting news. I have actually partnered up with BUSR Sportsbook, and we have an amazing limited time offer just for you. If you're into gambling, check this out. They have a sign-up 150% bonus. That's right. It's only for 24 hours after you sign up. But if you make a deposit within that 24 hours, you'll get 150% bonus. Put in $100, you get $150. Put in $1,000, you'll get an additional $1,500, up to $2,500. Now check this out. It's not just football because, we're dealing with the playoffs and Super Bowl right now. It goes well beyond just that. We're talking about football, basketball, baseball, hockey, more. Hell, I heard that like in The Sopranos that they would gamble on 2 cockroaches running up the wall. But no, in all seriousness, they even have live in-game betting as well. So don't miss out on this incredible offer. To take advantage of this, check out the description. I'll have a clickable link in there, and I'll also pin it into the tab. I'm Mark Holmes, and I appreciate you guys, and go Cowboys.
What went wrong for them yesterday? What went wrong for them yesterday, I would think, is on the offensive side of the football. Again, you got to just boil it all down. When you're talking about the finger of blame that always must be pointed when it's a conversation about the Cowboys and their season ends way shorter than they hoped. And their fan base hoped. Their chest-puffed fan base. Not talking about you in particular, TJ, but you're part of their fan base.
It seems like you are.
And so defensively, what they did yesterday was make Brock Purdy as close to a pumpkin as this carriage has been since he's taken over. I mean, they whipped that Niners offensive line for a good part of that game. They got the pressure. They stopped McCaffrey. They got in Purdy's face. They were getting him off the spot. Odigizua adding his game.
Odigizua.
Tank Lawrence. Front seven. I mean, Van Der Esch was everywhere, too. They were terrific. They were keeping everybody at bay for San Francisco. And all they could get was 3 Robbie Gould field goals in the first half. This game was theirs for the taking. So offensively, what's the issue? And it's a quarterback-driven league, and so everything lands on Dak. I'm not going to do some sort of performance art like some 71-year-old man crumpling up a jersey and throwing it out and tweeting it out.
Oh, shots fired.
A specific example of what you're not going to do.
Shots fired, Skip Bayless.
Yeah.
Okay, this is not just Dak is unable to meet the moment. We saw him meet the moment to take the lead. They scored a touchdown. The only touchdown in the first half. The Dallas Cowboys scored it because the Cowboys went on a 14-play, 74-yard drive. He finds Dalton Schultz again. Okay. When that happened, I thought to myself, here we go. And then, of course, Brett Maher has his extra point blocked, which does count, by the way, as a miss. And then the Fox replay showed that
it was going left.
Oh, my goodness.
Not close.
Is that Dak's fault? No, it's not. They took the lead. So it's in there. There is 2 interceptions. Now, the Niners scored 6 points off it because the defense did its job. They scored 6 points off it. The first one allowed the Niners to take a 9-6 lead at halftime. And that was a throw to Michael Gallup that Dak even said later on that he was late on. The second one was the real killer because that's the one that allowed the Niners to take the lead at halftime. But it also came 2 snaps after Tony Pollard went out, and that's the killer. That's the killer to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know what I felt about Pollard. I said it last year. He doesn't get the ball enough. He's the difference maker.
And he got hurt.
CeeDee Lamb has absolutely come into his own as a number one receiver. This year, it started off a little slow. Didn't help that Cooper Rush was the guy. Because again, I'm not going to sit here and say Cooper Rush was the better choice at quarterback. That's ridiculous. But CeeDee Lamb came to the fore and was number one overall for the Cowboys, no doubt about it. But Pollard goes out. And to me, the game changed. The game changed. I mean, outside of, one of their offensive linemen, Martin, CeeDee Lamb, name me another member of that offense they could ill afford to lose in a game. Because you could even say Dak isn't one of them because Cooper Rush did well enough. I mean, name me another one. That one, when I saw him go off on a car TJ, I thought to myself, this is a problem.
Can I be honest? I thought this game was over.
And I wouldn't blame you for thinking that.
Yeah.
Just the way the game was going at that moment.
Yep. I hear you. And what ended up happening is Pollard goes out, and then a couple of snaps later, this was the throw. I mean, Dak just did not see.
Okay. Time out. Okay. Please. Okay. I'm going to have to do something that I hate to do. Okay. All right. Mods, be cool. Okay. Philadelphia keeps getting blocked, and it's a pain in the ass to go through like the 1,000 people. Philadelphia is family. Okay. Philadelphia, he's annoying. You know, when you go to that family get together and there's that crazy uncle, you tell the kids, don't let the kids around that guy. That's Philadelphia, okay? So please don't block. I'm literally going to have to give him a wrench so people stop blocking him so I can stop getting the emails that say, man, I got blocked again. Because as much as you guys, we'll talk about Philadelphia, how annoying he is with all of the emojis and stuff, he went to bat for me. He did some stuff for me that, even though he is an Eagles fan and annoying as hell, he went to bat for me. So please don't block and time him out. Just ignore it. If it bothers you, just ignore it, please. Otherwise, I got to give him a wrench because I really don't want to go back through and have to try and find his name amongst all these other people that have been blocked. The porn sites, the million Victor Chamirez's, the fake Mark Holmes, and all those. I don't want to go through that whole pile of misery. So free Philadelphia. If we're going to be America's team and talk the talk, we got to walk the walk, which means when we lose, we have to man up and take it. Now, Philadelphia, like I said, he's annoying, but he's not going to do the personal attacks. Okay? So can we do that? Please. I know it's hard. that they're doing the dance on our cake, but we got to take it.
Coming in. And Ward grabbed the ball and Fred Warner took the tip, and that's what led to the field goal to go up 9-6. This was Dak after the game on the interceptions for the Dallas Cowboys and how it affected things, and what was with all the interceptions we saw towards the end of the season for Dak, and the fact that he didn't have a problem in Tampa, it proves the point. He throws them, they lose. He doesn't, they win. Here it is.
Something I've got to get in the offseason. Take a look at all of them. As I said before, they all have their own story. But two tonight, as I said, unacceptable. Can't put the ball in jeopardy like that. Whether they're tipped up in tight throws or whether I'm late on a stop route, just can't happen. And the number that has gotten to is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, Dak. It sucks.
I can promise that.
It sucks.
The number will never be this again. I can promise that.
It's nice of him to say that. He can't promise that. I mean, that's certainly for Cowboys fans, I imagine that feels like an empty promise and causes septuagenarians to grab their jerseys and throw them out. and storm out of camera.
I didn't know what you were talking about at first, but it's just now hitting me.
You know what? I'm going to end this part of it.
This person.
Let's just end that. Boy. Hello, good people. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear. Blah, 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 blah. Let's just open for business here, and let's just get this in here. You know what? As bad as this stuff is,
we them boys. Remember that. We them boys. Remember.
we them boys, we are the biggest, most hated franchise out there. And if you're going to be a Dallas Cowboy fan, you've got to understand this goes with the territory. If you're like my man Brian, who lives 30 minutes outside of Philadelphia, and you're reaping the Cowboys, you know that they gonna be talking shit when we lose. It doesn't matter. You know, I went through, because the funniest thing to me is this. The funniest thing is to me is this, is we are crucifying Dak Prescott. And Dak, you know, he had a bad game. He had a terrible game. He sucked. He sucked. I will say it. And I have been the biggest Dak Prescott defender that there is. But guess what? People have bad days, bad games, and so on. Do you go to work every single day and every time you do your job, you're perfect? I bet you don't. I bet you don't. But here's the problem. And actually, let me woosah. Let me say, Dallas Cowboy girl, hello. Shout out to anybody out there that says you're not a real Dallas Cowboy fan if you're not from Dallas. I can say Dallas Cowboy girl went to that game yesterday, who lives out there in California, who is getting shit from all those San Francisco 49er fans. That is a true fan that's taken it now 2 years in a row. Lola, Miss Hot Sauce. Help, Miranda. Stacy Schubert. Roland's Review. Gina Dallas Diva. All right. Thinking about the lovely ladies. Calm me down. Although it does get your blood pressure up when you think about those lovely Dallas Cowboys ladies. But here's the thing. Here is the problem that we have. And I saw a tweet that was retweeted by Space Cowboy. So let me make sure I give him credit on that. And it was an interesting one that said, did the Dallas Cowboys actually set the team up to fail so Mike McCarthy would get fired? This is, we're talking about the offseason. We're talking about the offseason. Thinking that they'd be able to hurry up and fire Mike McCarthy, get out of his contract, bring in Sean Payton, and they have tanked for next year. But the Dallas Cowboys did like in Major League, and they won. Think about this for a second. While we saw all these teams saying, we need better personnel. We need better personnel. We saw the Eagles say we need better wide receivers. They go get A.J. Brown. You know, when they lose a player, they go out and get Ndamukong Suhs and things like that. You know, they take flyers on Robert Quinn, you know, trying to get better, constantly grabbing more. You know, we got people, but we're constantly trying to get better. The Cowboys, we said, yeah, we got a number one receiver in Amari Cooper, you know, but we don't need him. But even worse than that was, it wasn't just Amari Cooper, it was also Cedric Wilson. And mind you, yes, I sound crazy, so that's fine. If you don't want to listen to a crazy man, Xavier, then I'm going through all of the scenarios and things and dissecting shit, okay? I'm grieving right now. When you grieve, you get angry. You cry. You make promises. And then eventually it all sets in. So let me, can I grieve? Can I grieve? Now here's the thing. We are expecting Dak Prescott to do perfection every single week. Every week. We now know that he can't do perfection every single. He was pretty perfect last week. He wasn't this week. So what you have to understand is we have to make sure, just like when Johnny's in school, he needs a tutor to help him with his math skills. He's not good with math, so we don't just say, you got to do the math and, you fail. No, we get him help. We get him help. We get him a tutor. We take him to one of those schools, after school clinics to help him get that. Instead of saying, we get close, we're going to go ahead and give you the worst wide receiver core out there. You know the moves that the Cowboys made in the offseason before training camp for free agents, while the Eagles are signing and trading for A.J. Browns, while Buffalo is going out and getting the Von Millers. We got Ryan Null, a fullback. We got James Washington, one drop. And Dante Fowler. Those are the moves we made. Now, here's the thing that's kind of crazy. Let me pull this up here. Let me see. Where did I go with it? Hold it. Let's look at this for a second. Here's how crazy this is. This is last year's receiving core. Amari Cooper wasn't a great year. It was 865 yards. Still would be second on the team. But here's what's interesting is third on the team, receivers, was Cedric Wilson. 602 yards. 602 yards with 13.4 yards per reception. He signed a deal for $7 million in Miami. Do you think we would have been better with Cedric Wilson instead of Noah Brown? Okay. While we're here doing this, let's do this too. Because at some point, we can say Dak sucked. Dak could not throw in the window, this window between two defenders. Yeah, he did miss T.Y. Hilton. He did miss that one. But we're expecting perfection, and I can guarantee you there's nobody that's perfected out there. You can look at Josh Allen, and this is so funny because I did a video just to kind of, just to see people's reaction, because Josh Allen had an ass performance too. Josh Allen isn't winning Super Bowls every year. The Buffalo Bills haven't been to the Super Bowl since we kicked their ass. It's been that long. But they don't get the hate that the Dallas Cowboys do. Josh Allen was ass. Josh Allen had more interceptions this year than Dak Prescott. He had more turnovers. His wide receiver literally, dude, the fuck are you doing? Nobody cares. All I get is, are you really comparing Dak Prescott to Josh Allen? Well, they both went just as far this year in the playoffs. They're both sitting on the couch. They both failed. At least Dak showed up against Tampa Bay. I looked at the game they had against Miami, and it wasn't exactly great. He had 2 interceptions last week, too. But nobody is roasting Josh Allen. Nobody is talking about the Buffalo Bills, who were playing at home as a number 2 seed. We were a 5th seed on the road in San Francisco. These things ain't equal. Mark, talk about Hurts. CC Law, why am I going to talk about Hurts when it's the day after the Dallas Cowboys losing? The fudge are you talking about, man?
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
I really don't. Seriously, dude. So in this game, Here's my point. You can't expect, and I don't know any quarterback. You show me a quarterback that has nobody that wins Super Bowls. And don't say, well, Tom Brady. You know, Tom Brady, every time he won the Super Bowl, had at worst, the 8th rated defense in football. And had one of the greatest minds coaching him as his offensive coordinator. We ain't got that in Kellen Moore, people. We ain't got that in Kellen Moore. And don't try and say those things are equal. But what you have to look at is say, Dak Prescott, he needs a tutor. Or he needs a wide receiver besides CeeDee Lamb that can get open. You know what I'm saying? CD had an incredible season. The Cowboys screwed the pooch. They said, we can't hold on to Amari Cooper because he cost too much money. $21 million was too much. We still paid him $6 million to go, which means we spent $15 million on Amari Cooper and then turned around and spent $12 on Michael Gallup. So we got rid of Amari Cooper, kept Michael Gallup, and saved a total of $3 million. Now you tell me, is that worth it? Was that worth it, that $3 million we saved? Because that's what we did. And even worse, how about this one? Forever Runway, shout out to you. Got you covered here. What's even worse is they said, let's let go of Cedric Wilson. Because that $7 million is too much, but 12 is okay for a guy coming back from an ACL who won't be ready to start the season. Do you guys remember the wide receivers we had starting the season? Dennis Houston, Jalen Tolbert, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup wasn't even back. Herein lies the problem for the Cowboys. We are so good at drafting that they literally drink the Kool-Aid and think that that's all you got to do. You can't build a team by free agents. You have to have a core group of people. And getting a core group of people is hard. But the Cowboys do that. The problem is when you're going Imano versus Imano, you got to have a little more oomph to get over the hump. When you looked at Tony Pollard going out yesterday, and you looked at our team and the talent that was left versus the San Francisco 49ers and the play caller, do you look at us and say, we had matching talent? I love Zeke Elliott, and I am saddened for Zeke Elliott and Tyron Smith, guys who have lived and died Dallas Cowboys blue, that they have been let down and failed of getting that ring as a Dallas Cowboy. And that maybe the last play that we'll ever see Zeke Elliott play is a freaking muddle huddle, the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. It's crazy. If there's some good news, Kellen Moore is interviewing for the Panthers job tomorrow. And it's not that they don't know him because they interviewed him last year. Can we say a prayer for Kellen Moore that he gets that promotion that he deserves and that he goes to Carolina? If there's maybe even some other good news is that Sean Payton is getting a second interview with the Denver Broncos. That maybe Dan Quinn looks at the Colts job and it's kind of like, meh, I don't really think I want that one. The owner is a little on the crazy side. And maybe the Cardinals job, not sure I want that one. That maybe the good thing that we had, and maybe Jerry Jones, who swears,
I think that's a part of leadership, is to have some of the guys that have gone before that have been disappointed to share it with everybody involved. For me, it's a reminder. I, too, have been here 23 years. And it is a reminder, I've been here when it was glory hole days, and I've been here when it wasn't. And so, having said that, I want me some glory.
I want me some glory holes, too. I want some glory holes.
So I have that perspective.
The Queen is here. Queen Bella, what's up? And shout out, okay, a couple of, let me take a couple other things, too. Is anybody else tired of seeing people break the TVs? Is anybody, I saw one today where dude's in his garage, he picks up the TV, he goes out the garage, throws it on the ground, and then takes his truck to back it up on it. I mean, seriously? Seriously? Okay, the first time we saw an idiot do that, we got it. Okay, that guy went off. Now, okay, I got an old TV up here. Okay, it's not one of the brand new, 80-inch screen, plasmas that just came out. No, it's always one of those real thick, wide, one that's, and it's like a 32 or a 42. You know what I'm saying? It's always, that was staged. That was not any real energy up in it. Here's what they probably did. What they probably did was the game was over, they DVR'd it, and they staged that shit afterwards. Can we stop with that? There's nothing more ridiculous. We got enough waste in the landfills right now that's toxic. If you're getting a new TV, donate it to Goodwill. Get a tax write-off. Help somebody else that might need a TV. Stop being stupid, okay? Just stop. And the next thing, I've heard the craziest ideas. Shout out to Cole's Cowboy, because he retweeted it, and I saw it. I mean, I had to, this made me laugh. Okay, one, I got happy when I saw Kellen Moore is interviewing in Carolina, and then I saw this tweet that Cowboy fans are saying, go get Derek Carr. Seriously? Why don't you get David Carr too? Because, he beat Dak Prescott in the Carnival Sideshow at the NFL Experience. Come on, man. Seriously? Derek Carr. Come on, man. Come on. See, and then also, too, I said, people were saying, get Aaron Rodgers. I'm sick of Dak Prescott messing up in the playoffs. It's like, so the last game of the season, Aaron Rodgers versus the Lions, we win, we go to the playoffs, and they score 16 points. That gives you confidence that he's going to do better than Dak did in the playoffs this year? Or being the number one seed last year at home against the same 49ers that we just lost to, that they lost? Seriously? Not to mention that Dak Prescott has a $49 million cap hit next year. But here's what I'm going to say. And you're going to say I'm crazy, because I'm Crazy Mark. Crazy Mark, that's who I am. We have a lot of free agents out there.
Skip off of camera?
But here's the thing. Here's the good news for us, okay? These are the free agents we have, okay? Free agents. Camera, please. Cooper Rush, Tony Pollard, who fractured his leg, and it'll be 3 months recovery. Rico Dowdle, Dalton Schultz, T.Y. Hilton, Noah Brown, Terrence Steele, Jason Peters, Connor McGovern, Alex Lindstrom on offense. On defense, Leighton Vander Esch, Anthony Barr, Luke Gifford, Anthony Brown, C.J. Godwin, Trayvon Mullen, Dante Fowler, Jonathan Hankins, Carlos Watkins, Donovan Wilson, and Yanye Thomas. Specialists, Brent Maher, Jake McQuaid, and Matt Overton. There's some of those guys that you do want to keep. I think on the offensive side, I think we definitely want to keep Tony Pollard. You probably want to keep Rico Dowdle, who won't cost much. Dalton Schultz. The problem with Dalton Schultz is, and here's the thing that's kind of crazy. As we got rid of the contract for Amari Cooper, that was $21 million. Dalton Schultz, we paid $11 million on a franchise tag. We paid $12 million on Michael Gallup. That's $22 million for those two players. And we had less than 1,000 yards between the two of them. $22 million, folks. $22 million. T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. might not have been bad had he been in training camp to really work with Dak. The problem of bringing in, and this goes back to the problem with the Joneses, is they wait. The problem is, in today's football, it's not like we used to have. When Lincoln Coleman told me that they went full pads practice the week of Super Bowl, that lets you know it's a different world. Today's football is not like that. You're basically having walkthroughs for practice. The only time you're having full speed is games. You don't have that many padded practice. You have like 16 in training camp. You have like 14 during the season. If you're bringing in somebody late in the season like you did with T.Y. Hilton, there's no chance of you to really get full speed work in. It's like playing weekend football. I'm an old guy. I'm showing up. We're going to play, street football. That works in the street. But we're talking about NFL. And so for the Cowboys not to sign any free agents that stuck, James Washington, he didn't get any practice because he got hurt first day of training camp. Finally got rehabbed and finally had a couple of glorified walkthroughs and was nothing. If you're going to bring people in, you need to get them early enough that they can go through the system, the OTAs, get working with Dak in the offseason, at his house. Learn the system. Learn to work with the people around you. We wait till the last minute. Oh, we can just sign a guy and plug him in. And the thing is when Dak is perfect, we go. But we can't expect Dak to be perfect every time. We can't expect Dak not to get injured because he's getting the Tony Romo syndrome now, where he's taking so many hits and stuff that he can break down. And so you have Dak. For all you Dak haters out there, for all you that say get rid of Dak, the reality is you can't get rid of Dak. The good news is you have a core group of guys that are the third youngest in the NFL. And if you end up getting rid of your Jason Peters, if Zeke is not coming back, which is sad to me, possibly, and maybe they offer him a dirt cheap contract, similar to what they did with DeMarcus Lawrence, and he comes back because he just wants to be a Cowboy. But knowing what they did with DeMarcus Ware and knowing what they did with Des Bryant, I'm not going to count on that and say Zeke is more special than them. You have a core group of young guys that are still learning how to play in the NFL. So when people say, blow it up and start all over, you kind of already did. Your offensive line is being rebuilt in front of our eyes, guys. The old guard, pretty much Zach Martin is the last man standing from that. Your wide receiver, your number one is only 3 years in the league. Your defense is pretty much all young guys and some guys that have yet to really get their chance. I mean, Sam Williams only scratched the surface. Second year, he should be better. Your Quentin Bohannons and things like that, they're young guys. Your Gallimores, these are guys still in their first contracts. So when you say start over, you can't really start. I mean, you're going to get rid of those guys? So what we have to look at is make the best of the situation that you have. Oh, now Thomas. Hey, Thomas. Yay. Yes, Thomas. There you go. That was going to bring me to my next point. It's time to move on from our offense. How many times have we heard people say they don't do anything special? How many times have we heard that? And it's the truth. We need a different philosophy. Do you see how many times Ramsey got burned this season? Oh, Ramsey was toast. But, he did have the injured shoulder. Tony Pollard is leaving. Well, we'll see. But see, here's the problem for Tony Pollard. This might be the Michael Gallup syndrome. It sucks to be hurt the last game of the season because now you're going to be rehabbing for the next 3 months, right? You don't think that that's going to hurt his value a little bit? See, that's what happened to Michael Gallup. Had Michael Gallup not tore his ACL, Michael Gallup would probably sign a big fat contract elsewhere, but the Cowboys kind of say, hey, you know what? We can bring you back at a reasonable deal. Now, I don't know if that was the best thing for the Cowboys because we went into the season relying on guys that on other teams. I mean, how many? Let me ask you this one. How many teams would Noah Brown be a starter on? Game time? What's up, game time? Richard Sherman hated the Niners for years. Now, all of a sudden, he's cool with the Niners. Of course, they gave him a chance. Brian Schottenheimer, new coordinator if Kellen goes. At this point, it shouldn't be an if. It shouldn't be an if. It should be it's time to change. Brian, Game Time said something great on Primetime's feed. And, he's pissed. And see, again, all you and Cowboy, the fans that are in Dallas that say you're not a real fan, screw you. The hits that Brian is taking, we're all getting trolled here online. Brian is having to live with those people. When he goes to the store, when he goes out to eat, they know he's a Cowboy fan in the middle of enemy territory, behind the lines. I admit it. Breaking news, Law Nation, the new offensive coordinator. Jerry looks sad. Jerry should look sad. Jerry should look sad. You know what? We telling Dak Prescott, you suck. Jerry Jones, you got to look in the mirror too. You realize the mistake you made with Amari Cooper when you were trying to scramble and get Odell Beckham Jr. That was a freaking Band-Aid. That was a freaking Band-Aid. And see, that's the thing. It was a close game, right? But if you have a couple more pieces, a couple more weapons, if you have a wide receiver that can get some separation to go with CeeDee Lamb, understand, everybody who, my man Brian got trolled when he said he misses the days of Troy Aikman. But even Troy Aikman had games that he struggled with. Having a Hall of Fame wide receiver in Michael Irvin and having a great running back in Emmitt Smith. But it wasn't just Michael Irvin. You guys remember how good Alvin Harper was going across the middle? So you had a great offensive line, great running back, great number one wide receiver, great number two. Oh, and you had Jay Novacek, the original security blanket. When you look at this team, how many of those things do you see on this team? How many of those pieces do you see on this team? CD could be Michael Irvin. Okay, I'll give you that one. Zach Martin could be like Larry Allen. Okay, I'll give you that one. That's it. Gotcha, Rupert. Yes. I hear you. Can we trade the whole offense for Debo and Kittle? Thing was, they made plays. And the sad thing about this is, Dak was ass. I'm still trying to, everybody is still, you're making excuses. I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm trying to make solutions. I'm trying to, not that Jerry Jones listens to me or anything, but maybe if enough people out there put it out to the universe, maybe somebody's, light bulb will go on and say, maybe there's something to that. You got to have weapons. We got to have more weapons. The saddest thing for me yesterday, there were two things that were sad, and Brian felt one of them was just the same as I did. And that's my man Stewart up here. That the finality of the season is the finality of the dream of Stuart Morse's wishes. That hurt. But what almost hurt as bad, too, was actually watching Zeke Elliott. Zeke, there were a couple times where you could see there's a little lane. Zeke would get 4 yards, but then he'd get tripped up. A younger Zeke would hit those holes and he's gone. And there's a thing about running backs, and this is a conundrum for the Cowboys. Almost to a man, there's exceptions, and, with a few running backs out there, but very few. But typically, year number 4 is the peak. And after that, they go off and they come back down. And we've seen many great running backs that are like I said, there's a few. There's a few exceptions to the rule, but not many. When I saw Zeke running yesterday, what I thought of was Eddie George. Eddie George, like the last 4 years of his career, was like 3.3, 3.4 yards a carry. He was great for several years, and then the mind was there, the desire was there, but the body wasn't. And that's how I felt about Zeke yesterday. I love Zeke Elliott. Alan Williams, wait a minute, Mark. The Super Bowl wish Stu wants is going to take time. That wish ain't dead yet. Alan, you're right about that, but it needs to be this year, man. Alan Williams. I'm here alone, of course. Mike is with da-da-dunt.
Damn, Gina.
Yeah, and the thing that's sad about Zeke is if Zeke ends up going the way of, say, Tony Dorsett, Emmitt Smith, where their career ends just going downhill elsewhere. It's something about some players should always be with certain teams. You hate to see them go elsewhere. Game time, career. Aliens are real. We need to draft a quarterback every round at this. Okay. I'm going to say getting quarterbacks is hard. You guys remember, like, Arizona drafted, God, I can't think of his name, before Kyler Murray, the year before. Back-to-back first-round quarterbacks. And I'm not sure after them paying the $200-some million to Kyler Murray that they have a franchise quarterback. Denver, Super Bowl winning quarterback in Russell Wilson. They spent $250 million. Are they sure they have a quarterback? Baby steps, Mark. We got consistency on winning. We got to get consistent. Yeah. And that was my other point is, as bad as we feel, we at least competed. And you can look at it from the standpoint of, did we actually overachieve? Third youngest team in football. You had one playmaker at wide receiver. you had one really good back, but you couldn't play him more than 20 plays. A quarterback that broke his finger, an offensive line that was in flux. Splash Broda, shout out to you for being a member for 6 months. If you're saying, I'm with Thomas Garrett on the rebuild the offensive coaching staff. Retool is better because rebuild is, I mean, you're probably going to be kind of rebuilding in a way because you got to figure that Tyron Smith, Zeke Elliott, maybe Dalton Schultz on the offense won't be coming back. Reven asks, the same people that want Dak gone, if it happens, have a different quarterback and the results in the same way, who do they blame? Well, the reality is, Reven, it doesn't matter with Cowboy fans who's at quarterback. He will always be the most hated person out there. So, money. Here's my question, because as much as I'm all for any option, put all options on the table. What are you getting for a quarterback for next year that's going to make us better? Marky Mark, I'm still not sold at. Well, hey, Marky Mark, we looked out and we got Tony Romo as an undrafted quarterback. We got Dak in the 4th round. But how often does that happen? I dare say Brock Purdy, part of his success is where he is with the playmakers. He's got a great running game. Got a great offensive line. Got some great wide receivers that get separation. Has a great playmaker and football mind. Do you think Brock Purdy, if he had went to, let's say, what team? The Commanders? You think Brock Purdy would be the same quarterback if he went to the Commanders? Do you think Brock Purdy would be the same quarterback if he went to the Jets? The situation that he's in is a good situation. If you get rid of Dak, you get about an $89 million dead money hit, and you have to replace him. I know people say, bring in Derek Carr. Jimmy Garoppolo will be out there. Jimmy G will be out there. Carson Wentz will be out there. Maybe Aaron Rodgers. Maybe Tom Brady, if he doesn't retire. Do you look at going in and bringing one of those guys and think that it's going to be a deeper run than what you have right now? And what are you going to do as far as putting any other talent on there with the dead hit? Dak's not going anywhere. Mike McCarthy's not going anywhere. So, your options are, the Cowboys realize we screwed the pooch with weapons. Let's go out and get some. Miami said, let's go out and get the cheetah. You don't think the cheetah made Tua better this year? What about big... I just can't with you people. What about Big Ben? Carolina Cowboy, amen. What would Dak be with Sean McVay? What would Dak be with? Yeah. Trade for someone. Y'all don't have money. Well, we could have money if you end up restructuring or redoing the deal with Zeke. Actually, you could go ahead and restructure Dak, which I think is going to happen. I know people will say, oh, what are you doing? Yeah, well, you go ahead and you do a new contract for him, and you can reduce his cap number. His cap number was only $19 million this year. Tyron Smith is $13 million. There's money there. The cap's going to blow up quite a bit. So there's ways you can do this. And when you look at teams that were out there that were in worse cap shape than we were, they didn't let the cap preclude it. They made the moves and the structure of the contracts to do that. The Cowboys decided for whatever reason, we don't believe in doing that, and so on. Well, I hate to tell you, that's the new NFL way of winning. And if you don't learn how to play the game, if you don't learn how to play that game and realize we can't just get 7 draft picks a year and think that we're going to be able to build a Super Bowl roster, it's just not enough players. You have to get some blue chippers to go along with those. Jerry likes a deal. Game changer? Admit it. It was. Here's the difference. I'm going to tell you the difference between the Cowboys and the Eagles. The difference between the Cowboys and the Eagles. We got rid of a number 1 receiver as well as a number 3 receiver and didn't replace them. The Eagles, they went out, they got a number 1 receiver. They improved their team. We hurt our team. Aisha Robinson, how you doing? That's the difference. And that's where you have to kind of wonder, were the Cowboys setting us up for failure? Were they looking at this and saying, let's start the process of rebuilding right now. We'll go out here, get all these free agents that we can get rid of. We'll get rid of these high price, wide receivers and not sign them. And when we start losing, we'll get rid of Mike McCarthy and we'll bring in Sean Payton. We all said that before. It felt like it. Everybody to a man said, what are the Cowboys doing? Jerry needs to do deals because a lack of cap space. Get Barkley. Barkley's already turned down $12 million deal. And again, here's the issue. Are the best days for Barkley, like most running backs, that 4-year window? There you go, game time. They penalized Dak and took away weapons away, but with Hurts, and they hurt the fans and the team. They did. You took weapons away from him. You have the offensive line in flux. And then we point the finger, Dak, you're to blame. You suck. South 504. Yeah, it's true. He didn't win, but he didn't have a defense, though, before. See, take a look at the 2 teams that are playing this weekend. Take a good look. Do either of them have shitty defenses? They both have offenses. They both have defenses. You need both. We had great offenses many, many times with Tony Romo, but didn't have a defense. Tom Brady has never won the Super Bowl without at least the 8th best defense every time. I want to, and here's my thing. If you're saying, okay, this is the deal with the devil. This is the deal with the devil that you make. Jerry Jones, you're in your 80s. I don't know how long you got left. Sorry to say that, but I don't know how long I got left. You've said, I'd write whatever check it takes to win. Well, I'll tell you what, let's do this before we get out of here. Let's make it easy. How about this? For everybody that's saying, blow the team up and start over. How about this? At the moment, we have a negative $223,000, okay? Dak's cap number is $49 million, okay? Restructure that puppy. Make it dirt cheap. 1 year. Or don't. Keep it at that. DeMarcus Lawrence, you're married to because of, let's go to post June 1st. DeMarcus Lawrence, can't get rid of him because he'd be a $20 million dead hit. He's going to be 26 next year. Zach Martin, do like you always do. You can restructure that one. Tyron Smith, $17 million cap hit. You can release him and save $9.5 million. Zeke Elliott, cap number is $16 million. If he's a pre-June 1st, you save 5. If he's a post-June 1st, you can save 10. So you got 10 there from Zeke. You got 13 from Tyron Smith. You could actually cut Michael Gallup and save $11 million post-June 1st, but I don't think they'll do that. Dorrance Armstrong, you don't want to do that. Jaron Curse, you don't want to get rid of him either. He's under contract. Jordan Lewis, you could get rid of him and save 5. And so on. So you can get money there if you want to by restructuring D-Law, by restructuring Dak, by restructuring Zach Martin, by cutting Tyron Smith, by cutting Zeke Elliott, and so on. How about we try something we just haven't done before? How about we do that and say, this is going to be the last ride here. This is shit or get off the toilet for Dak and DeMarcus Lawrence and these guys. We restructure, kick the can down the road knowing that the salary cap's going to blow up. And we go out there and get talent, extra guys. Do your Von Miller's type bring-ins. Do your get a game-changing receiver. Get all these guys in here. Just say, what the hell? Let's see if we can buy ourselves. And if it doesn't work, then blow it up. Start all over. At this point, you got nothing to lose. Oh, yeah, people are saying, get Lamar Jackson. Yeah, because Lamar Jackson, of course, in the playoffs, always does great. Always. Splash Broda, got you. So that would be my thought. Now, again, they call me crazy. They call me Crazy Mark. No trade clause. Why? Because every quarterback, every big contract, they always put in no trade clauses. They just do. Because you're not going to trade me to Siberia. That's just the way it works. So, we look at that and say, oh no, why are they doing it? Well, that's what they do. Did my system freeze? I think my system froze on me again, didn't it? Sure did. Okay. That might be a good time to end this stream then, huh? Don't know what my computer system is doing to me. All right, good people. Guess that's a good spot to go ahead and just say good night then. Don't know if it's still on there, but it seems to be stuck and stupid. Let's see. Let's see. See what it's doing on here. Oh. Am I still live with you guys? Okay. Okay, maybe I'm okay. I'm still live. I'm just not getting the chat then. Okay. Brian Leftwich would be great for Dak. I'd take Brian Leftwich over Kellen Moore. Those freaking emails finally kicked in. Love you, Borsich. Tanner Ridge, you're still on fine, which is weird because all my stuff here is frozen, so I don't know how it's working, but it is still on. Yes, mock draft. Yeah, it is mock draft time. Gina, probably the dishes then goes to cry. Keep Dak and the coaching matters. Do you think Kellen Moore will be gone? Well, I'm hoping that the interview with Carolina goes well. Let me try something here. Let's see.
I'm tired of listening to the garbage you talk.
So that works. But everything else on my computer, other than my studio software, is froze. This makes no sense. Okay. I don't know. I guess it's playing. My computer system is actually acting like it's the Dallas Cowboys. We need a new system. It sounds like I need a new system too. Or I thought I had gotten all the ghost out of the machine, that it was full of dust. I feel like it's time for a revamp too there, Queen Bella. I think they'll end up promoting one of the guys that are already here. The Cowboys have one of the things that they always do is they promote from within. Let me try something here. Hold on. Let's see. Hopefully it doesn't. Let's see. Let me try ending that task and see what happens. Okay. All right, let's see if I can get back on Google Chrome. Okay. Bear with me for 1 second, y'all. And let's see. Aha, I think I figured out a workaround. Not a reach around, a workaround. Okay. All right, I'm back now. Okay. There we go. Cowboys need to keep all the staff, just let Moore and draft a cornerback, a wide receiver, and talent around. Well, I think you're also going to need a running back too, because Zeke, I think, is done. I think you're going to need more help on the offensive line because Terrence Steele tearing his ACL, he's probably not going to be ready to start the season. So now you're talking about a tackle as well, and I think Connor McGovern is a free agent. You need Marcus Peters rumors. Okay, I hadn't heard of that one. There's going to be all kinds. Andy Dalton. Oh my God. Andy Dalton would have won last night. Okay. All the people that are saying fire Dak and release him okay, let me show you good people. If you release, if you say, I'm tired of Dak Prescott, I'm sick of this shit. Guess what, guys? You're spending $89 million to say goodbye. How do I say goodbye to what we had? $89 million as a pre-June 1st cut. As a post-June 1st cut, it's still $41 million. I'm sorry, that's trade. Excuse me. Post June 1st, it's a $49 million cap hit. So you're telling me you're okay if you make him a post June 1st cut of $49 million, which is his cap number? Oh, Gina, I'm sorry you got it too late. Damn. I bet you looked at that and said, I'm going to take a knife to this shit. Trade Dak for Joe Boo. They ain't got to trade Dak. All they got to do is sign Joe Boo. That's all they got to do on that one. That's Alan Williams. I love John Kitna. You need a tactician, not a speedster. First and second picks. I agree with you on the wide receiver. I'm not sure if it's a middle linebacker or not because I think you actually need an offensive lineman. I think you're going to need either a guard. Here would be my take. You're going to need a tackle, and you really need a left guard. The tackles are the harder ones to get where you need to have a higher pick. The guards, you can get good ones in the second round. Trade for DeAndre Hopkins, your thoughts? He's better than what we have as far as after CD, but I'm not sure that I want to spend a fortune for him. Can we break down? Well, we can during the week, not tonight. We need a number one tight end. Yeah, Dem Boys kicks. You're right about that. I wasn't ready for it either game time, but we ain't got no choice, man. Aliens are real. I tell you what, how about if we get some playmakers that can get themselves open and then he doesn't have to throw tight windows? What people are looking for, you probably have a better chance of finding an alien. Seriously. Al, our problem is you don't show jobs enough. Marker, our problem is I don't show jobs enough? Okay. You mean my day job? There's Lisa. How are you doing? Hawk fan, what's up? Lisa. There's Lisa. Can we get Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee? Well, we're going to have to start working on... Yeah, we're going to start working on the draft stuff. Actually, before we start working on the draft, we got to figure out if we're franchise tagging Tony Pollard. And I think you do re-sign Van Der Esch. Zeke, if Zeke is still here, he'll get a rework deal. There's no way they're going to keep him on $16 million for next year. Dak needs a running game, yes, and that goes along with the offensive line. So you got to fix the offensive line, you got to have the running game, and then you need a wide receiver. Barr and Dante. I think both of those guys are going to probably be gone. Those are stopgap guys. Cowboys had what I consider drafting a quarterback in 23. I would probably, if there's one available late in the draft, maybe. I'm not talking about trying to say, let's go ahead and do like a Jordan Love like Green Bay did. Borich, that happens sometimes. You know, you've got 2 seconds to see the whole field. Zeke said he's willing to take a pay cut to come back. Zeke is cooked. Dak needs to see the field better. Keep Pollard and get a power back. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, good people, I still got to hit the road early in the morning. And we've probably done enough belly aching and crying for one night. And we just have to get over it. If you're going to be a Cowboy fan, you have to understand we're going to have great regular seasons. We're going to get excited. We're going to be sold that this is a great team and that we should be a Super Bowl favorite. And the reality is this is what happens in the end. until we do things differently, and we haven't been doing things differently, you're going to get the same results. And this is where I hope Jerry Jones feels awful today. I hope Jerry Jones feels disgusted, because until somebody hits rock bottom, you don't make changes. You don't. And see, this is where Jerry needs to make changes on the way they do things. Your philosophy. We've stuck with the same offense through Jason Garrett and Scott Linehan to now Kellen Moore. You got to change. You got to do things differently. You got to look at free agency and say, we don't have enough to compete with the big dogs. We can do good. Sometimes we can get them, but we can't get them on a consistent basis until then. But get your shot glass ready. And the season may be over, but the season, I'll be streaming every game. As much as it hurts, I will be streaming, and we'll be doing a Super Bowl party. As much as it hurts, there is really no off season. Right now, we have to figure out which coaches are going to stay. And after that, we have to figure out who's going to get franchise tagged. And then early March, it's free agency. So there's no off season anymore. We got a lot of work to do if we're ever going to get back to that Super Bowl and fulfill Stuart Morrison's promise. Thank you very much as always, good people. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. It hurts, it sucks, but we'll get over it. Have a great night, and God willing, I see you tomorrow.
Turn out the lights, the party's over. They say that all good things must end. tomorrow, and next year starts the same old thing again.